I am Barbara Burton with the Westfield Historical Society, and one of the goals of the society is to bring forward outstanding Westfielders so people know the people we live with. One of them is a woman named Dr. Virginia Apgar. And I don't know if that name is familiar to you. It is to some, not to others. Dr. Apgar created the Apgar score, which is used for newborns all over the world, is still used today. She was born in Westfield. She went to this very church. She graduated from Westfield High School. And the Historical Society is setting up an exhibit about her over at the Reeve House on Mountain Avenue. I don't know if you know where it is, right up from the Presbyterian Church on the side of Mindewaskum Park. So I just want to tell you a little bit about her, because in the time I've studied her, I have learned what an amazing person she was, and I want to share that with you, because you should be very proud she's a Methodist. She was a physician. We'll talk about that in a minute. She was a musician. And she was a Methodist. Her mother was the daughter of a Methodist minister, so they joined this church when they came to Westfield. What should I do to get the next slide? Next slide. This is the house where she was born. It's on Carlton Road. I made a mistake in the number. It's actually 529 Carlton Road. So those of you that know Carlton Road, it's kind of behind Central Avenue. There's a Carlton Towers apartment building. And it's still there. It looks very much like it did when she was born in 1909. It's a lovely old Queen Anne house. Her father built it. And she attended Washington School and Westfield High School. Now I have to say those buildings might sound familiar because we have a Washington School and a Westfield High School now, but they were different buildings. There was an older school called Washington that's been torn down. And the high school she attended is now the Board of Education building on Elm Street. That was the original high school, and the new high school, of course, is on Dorian Road. So she is a graduate of our public school system. Next slide. She attended the First Methodist Church right here, and in my research, it turned out the church was finished in 1911. She was born in 1909, so she would have attended services right here, and they could probably walk from here. I love this old postcard of the church. I won't say I miss the finials because I know you probably hear that. You probably hear that enough, but I grew up in Westfield, so when I grew up, the finials were there. And people get very, emotionally attached to these things. But it's a beautiful, obviously beautiful asset to the Westfield landscape on the corner where it's so visible. In this photo, I'm not sure exactly what year it was, but you can see the old car going along. And then you can see that little, I don't know if it was a part of the trolley system or something, a little house there. So if anyone has any ideas about what that little house could have been used for, I'd love to know that. But anyway, Virginia attended here until she graduated from high school and probably came back to town and came on Sundays with her parents. Next slide. We have her baptismal record still intact, thanks to you. It's going to be part of the exhibit at the Reeve House. It's a handwritten book. It's a very prized possession because it's authentic, obviously. And it shows her date of baptism, the type of baptism which they called sprinkled. Not sure what the choices were, but she was sprinkled, and the date. And she was baptized actually at home. I'm not sure if that was more common back then or why. But we do have that record in the exhibit, and it's one of our most cherished possessions in the exhibit. We're giving it back, though. Next slide. In terms of her education and career, from Westfield High School, she went to Mount Holyoke College. Some of you may be familiar with All-Women's College in South Hadley, Massachusetts. Very much known for its sciences. She wanted to be a doctor from a young age, which was unusual at that time for a woman not to say, I want to be a nurse. She wanted to be a doctor. So she majored in zoology. She went to the Columbia College of Physicians and Surgeons in New York City, and she went later on in her career to the Johns Hopkins School of Public Health to get a master's degree in public health because she felt she could do more good for what became her interest, which was the prevention of birth defects, by speaking directly to the public and advocating for the March of Dimes, which is where she ended her career. Next slide, please. The Apgar score was developed in 1954 when she was at Columbia. Prior to when childbirth's been going on for a long time, obviously, long time. Originally, or as time went by, the focus was really on the mother, trying to save the mother's life, and often the baby would be kind of shunted to the side, and they had really no way of doing anything for the babies. This is way before NICUs and all the things that we're so used to today in our modern world. But Virginia noticed a connection. She was an anesthesiologist, and she noticed the connection between anesthesia, when the mother had a general anesthesia, and the baby being kind of sleepy mother, sleepy baby. And she's like, that's probably not good. So she developed this score, 5-point score, and every baby still gets it. I just had my very first grandchild in August. I asked immediately, what was her Apgar score? And it's really not a question of trying to boast about a high score, because they're not looking for high scores. They're looking for babies who might be in trouble, who are having trouble breathing, who are not responsive in some way, and getting help for them. So it's still used around the world. It's a very, very simple test. Your insurance company doesn't charge for it. It has saved, although I think they've tried, has saved countless lives. That is her major claim to fame. Let's see, next slide, please. She was a stamp collector as a child. Her father helped her in that career. So one of the pieces of her legacy is that 20-cent stamp you see there, which was issued after her death and would have pleased her quite a bit. Of course, the continued use of the Apgar score. Columbia has done many things to honor her. There's the Academy of Medical Educators. Virginia made her own stringed instruments. She made violins, she made viola. She was the Renaissance woman. And they purchased her handmade instruments at Columbia, and they have a string quartet which is played at various professional meetings and conferences at Columbia. And I could go on. She's in the Westfield Hall of Fame, she's in the New Jersey Hall of Fame, she's in the Women's Hall of Fame, she received multiple honorary degrees. And she's still the topic of children's books. She excites female doctors because of her groundbreaking, the time at which she went to medical school. There were only 9 women in her class at Columbia. She never felt it was a barrier. They asked her all her life, did you feel it was a barrier being a woman? And she's like, nope, I never met anything I couldn't get past or get by or get over. She just dealt with what she had and kept going. So she's been really an inspiration to a lot of physicians and people in general. Next slide, please. This is her final resting place. It's out at Fairview Cemetery. And I don't know if you can see, but on her gravestone it says, take my life and let it be consecrated, Lord, to thee. So that was a passage that meant a lot to her. She's buried right behind her parents, who were in that house with her, who died, and her brother was also a musician, so the musical gene was very strong. So I wanted to talk a little bit about her to encourage you to come to our exhibit and learn more about her, because as I say, she was an outstanding Methodist and generally just an outstanding human being, so worth knowing more about. Thank you.